Hi, good morning. We're going to look at some maths today and this idea of metacognition. What I want you to do just to start off is have a go at them 4 questions for me, please. I'm just going to give you a couple of minutes writing down in your books. Now, hopefully you've managed to work your way through them. So if we just quickly go through, the first one, you should have got 80. Find 10%, which is 40, and then we double it, which gives us 80. Next one, a quarter of 320. A quarter means divide by 4. So 320 divided by 4, and you get 80 again. Next one, 360 divided by 12. So first of all, just do 36 divided by 12, which gives you 3, and then the 0 on the end. And then the last one, we're splitting £200 in the ratio 7 to 3. So 7 to 3, which gives us a total of 10 parts. 10 parts is being split by 200. 200 divided by 10 is 20. Times them both by 20. Eventually, you'll get £140 and £60. Now, they should have been reasonably straightforward. But what we need to look at is more of the worded exam questions that you're still doing them same skills with, but there's a context to it. So if we look at the next slide here, it says Georgia earns £20,000 a year. She gets a pay rise of 20%. She gets paid monthly. She loses a quarter of her monthly pay for tax. She then splits the rest of the monthly amount between savings and living costs in the ratio 1 to 9. How much does she have for living costs each month? So I'm going to give you just a few minutes to just see if you can start that question, or even better, try and get an answer. I'll give you about 3 or 4 minutes. Right, so I'm going to run through that. First thing I want to say is 5 marks there at the bottom. That means you have about 5 minutes in the exam. And let's face it, that's if you take all of the time, which most people in the maths exam do finish early. So you do have plenty of time. And that's what this metacognition idea is about. You need to be planning the question and looking for the bits of information. And I only actually give you about 3 minutes. So first of all, obviously we've got the £20,000 she earns. We've got a pay rise of 20%, so it's a pay rise. She gets paid monthly. She loses a quarter, and then we split her costs of saving and living costs in the ratio 1:9. So looking at the question, we've gathered that we're going to have something to do with percentages. We've got fractions of amounts. And we've got sharing in ratio. And then the other bit is actually a bit of common sense to understand that although she gets paid monthly, it's giving us as a year. So we do need to know just from our own knowledge that there's 12 months in a year. Okay, so I've looked at the key things. I understand what bits I've got to do. So first of all, the 20%. So she earns 20,000, 20% of 20,000. So first of all, I'll find 10%, which is dividing by 10, which is £2,000. I'm going to double that to give me 20%, which is 4,000. But it's a rise. It's added on, isn't it? So actually that's 20,000 plus the 4,000. So that gives me 24,000 that Georgia gets paid per year. Remember, we actually want this to be a monthly thing. So I think at this point, as everything else mentions monthly, I think we should get that to months. So 24,000 divided by 12. Again, like we did on the do now bit at the start, 24 divided by 12 is 2, and then throw the 3 zeros on the front. So actually she gets paid £2,000 a month. So now we need to deal with the tax. She loses a quarter. A quarter is divided by 4. So 2,000 divided by 4 eventually will get you 500. But she loses that to the tax man. So 2,000 take away 500 is £1,500. So that's how much she's got after tax. The next bit is the ratio. So she's going to split the rest of that money between savings and living costs. So we've got savings, living costs total 1 to 9, which equals 10. Our total amount we're doing is 1,500 quid now. So we have to do 1,500 divided by 10, which gives us 150. Times each one by 150, so you get savings is 150, and you get living costs eventually as 1,350. So I think we've got all our working out. We've done a lot of maths. The last thing we need to do, and you'll be surprised how many don't, is actually look at what the question wants. Because people give what answer they think or what answer they've done in class. This one just wants how much she has for living costs each month. And living costs each month, it's that 1,350 there. So on the answer line, with its units, we would put £1,350 for all 5 marks. Then, with all our work, again, a part of this metacognition is to evaluate our answers. So think about, does that seem sensible? Well, initially we had 1,500 we were splitting up with the ratio, so 1,350 sounds a reasonable amount. If you was getting 2.4 million a month or £2 a month, then straight away there should be alarm bells ringing. That doesn't seem a sensible answer. So always check. I know with some questions it's not always easy, but with this, always check it seems a reasonable amount. Now I just want to show you two more answers to that exam question there. So first of all, look on the right hand side. The answer is very close. It's actually only £5 out. But unfortunately, can't give it any marks because it's wrong. Now the left hand side is also wrong. It's very wrong. But if you look, so 10% of 20,000 is 200 is wrong. But what the people have shown is they've found 10% and doubled it. So that's what they wanted to do to find 20%. So actually we give that a mark. The amount they get for the year amount is wrong, but they then divide that by 12. Wrong again, but what they intended on doing was correct. They then divide their wrong answer by 4. Again, they do that wrong actually, but they divide by 4 is a mark. They then split theirs amount into 1 to 9, which unfortunately again they're wrong, but they get the mark because they split the amounts in the ratio. So actually, that question would get 4 marks, even though every single sum they've done is wrong. But there's clear working out and there's clear intention. Okay, so they tried to find 20% by doing 10% and doubling. They divided the salary by 12. They found a quarter by dividing by 4. They then split it up into a ratio. So you're not expecting somebody to get that many calculations wrong as on the left hand side, but you can see just by some clear working out, they've got that mark. So you've got to remember, plan out the question, what's it asking, what bits are relevant. You know, I highlighted 5 things, there's 5 marks. That's always a good sign. But look at the difference. You pretty much in the start there do now did the skills that was needed, and pupils will find that the skills on that slide will be answered much better than the final answer on that slide, even though we are doing the same thing. And the problem is these questions on this slide, you're only looking around the grade 3 mark. Now this question, you still got the same maths. Okay, so it's not actually regarded to be that hard a question mathematically, but it's making sure that we can understand what the question is asking for. We can plan it, we can practice it, and then we can evaluate it at the end. Can we? Does it seem sensible? Yes. We'll see you next time, and I'll have a look at some more of these type of questions.